Okay, so let's look at the solution to this test your learning one. Okay, so we know we need to ask the user to enter an integer. So let's say value is input, enter an integer. All right, let's convert that to an actual integer. So in value is the conversion of value to an integer. Great. So now we can use int. So let's create a variable that will contain this total, right, or this sum. So we're going to say total, and we must make it be 0, okay? Because if we make it be 1, then it will give us 1 extra. So whenever you're creating this accumulator, which is a variable that will contain a total value, then we always set that variable initially to 0. So now what I'm going to do, I will create a loop, and I know from the examples I looked at earlier that we want this loop to work while the value is greater than 0, right? Because if you recall, when we did something like 45 integer division 10, we got 4, and when we said 4 integer division 10, we got 0. And so that was an indication that we can't process any more digits because there are no more. So we'll use that fact to create our loop where we'll say while int value is greater than 0, right? Which means that there are still digits. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so while this int value is greater than 0, what I want to do, I want to pick off the last digit. Okay, that seems easy enough. Okay, I'm going to store that in a variable. So last digit is int value modulus 10. So once I have that last digit, what am I going to do with it? I am going to add it to my total. So I'm going to say total is the old total, which is 0, plus this digit I just picked off. Great. So now I have this total, right? So what do I need to do? I need to reduce the number. In other words, I need to chop off that last digit and make the number smaller. And we know how to do that, right? So say add last digit to total. Alright, great. So now let's remove the last digit. And that's easy. All we need to do is to say that the number that we currently have will be replaced by what it was integer division 10. So now it will be the same number except the last digit will be removed. And so once I do that, then I will go back into the loop, and that new reduced number will be compared to see if it's greater than 0. And if it has digits, then it is greater than 0. So we'll repeat the process. Get the last digit, add it to the total, strip it off, and get a smaller integer. And we'll keep doing that until we end up with something like, let's say we end up with this 7 here. Is the 7 greater than 0? Yes, it is. So we'll say 7 integer 10, 7 modulus 10 leaves me with 7. and then I would add that to the total, and then that 7 integer division 10 would give me a 0. And so when I come up here and I ask is 0 greater than 0, that's false, so I break out of the loop. So now I can say print outside the loop, right, the sum of the digits in the number is the total. So I'm gonna put dot format. Let's use int value, and we're gonna fill this in with total. Okay, so if I run this with our example of 1 1 1 1, it says the sum of the digit is 0. Alright, so we have a problem, right? And I hope you see the problem. Because we kept reducing the value here, right? We lost its initial value. So let me show you what I'm talking about. If I click play and I click 758, right? It gives me the correct total, but I have lost the number. So I'll give you a second to think about it. How can I retain that original number? Easy enough, right? Copy of number is actually int value. So all I have done is to store the original number in a copy in a new variable, and so now that number is safely stored here. So when I actually manipulate this one, I still have the original. So all I need to do is to say copy of number. Okay, and so now if I click play and I put 1 1 1 1, it remembers that this is 1 1 1 1. And if I click play with 758, it remembers it's 758. And so let me add a comment here. Make a copy of the user input for use in the final output. Alright, so let's grab this program and let's look at it in Python tutor so that you can actually see how this program actually is manipulating the value. So let's visualize. Okay, let's go down here. Alright, let's enter an integer, let's say 758, and submit. Okay, so I need to convert that 758, notice it's a string, the quotes. I convert it to an int, so notice the quotes have gone. And now I need to make a copy of this variable. Right, so I have a copy. I need to create a variable which I will call an accumulator. I'll give it the name total, and I set it initially to 0. And so now inside this while loop, I will stay in here until I make this become 0. So I'll go next. I'm going to strip off. Alright, so last digit is now 8, the last digit. And so I'm going to go next. I'm going to take that last digit, right, and add it to total, which was 0. But when I add 0 plus 8, I get 8. right? And so now, since I have this last digit, I've already used it, I can strip it away. And how do I strip it away? I simply say integer division 10, and notice it's now 75. And so I'm going to check, is 75 greater than 0? Yes. So I'm going to repeat the process, right? I'm going to grab that 5, I'm going to add it to the 8 in total, and then I'm going to strip off that 5, leaving me with 7. And I'm going to repeat the process, right? Leaving me with 7. Add that 7 to the 13. And finally, I'm going to get rid of that 7 by saying 7 integer division 10, which leaves me with 0. And so finally, is 0 greater than 0? False. So it means I will exit the loop. And once I exit the loop, I will simply print what needs to be printed. Okay, so that's how we solve that problem. All right, and I hope you understood by looking at it through Python Tutor what exactly was happening. Now, in programming, a huge part of learning is to recognize patterns. So, one pattern is if I need to iterate over a number and get the individual digits, you could simply use a while loop. Alright, and to strip away the digits, you use modulus, and to reduce the number, you use integer division. Alright, so that's a pattern that you should keep in your mind and say, you know what, if I ever see a problem where I need to do something like this, I know exactly what to do. And so the more patterns you build up in your tool chest, in your tool set, then the stronger of a programmer you will become. But of course, that only comes with practice and exposure to these types of problems. So don't shy away from the challenging problems. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it might make you feel like you don't know a lot, and it will lower your morale. But think in terms of the long view, the long-term view. Yes, it hurts now, but in 6 months from now, in a year from now, you will understand these patterns, you will know how to effectively use them, and you can go on to even more challenging problems, which will make you even more stronger. So keep at it and don't give up. I'll see you in the next Test Your Learning problem.